here to talk about producing. And I want to start with, you just premiered your first feature as a producer.
Yes.
Tell me how it went. Tell me about the film and tell me how it went.
Sure. The film is called PORNO. It's a horror comedy set in the 90s. It takes place in a very religious town in the 90s, and it's a bunch of teenagers who work at a small theater. And every Friday they're allowed to have film club night, meaning they could play anything. And the film starts off with when they're all arguing about, should we watch The League of Their Own or should we watch Encino Man? They can't get to, agree. So they end up going to the basement, find a really old reel that's not labeled, and they play it. And it plays, is it an art house film? Is it a porn? They're not sure, but it unleashes a sex demon, and the entire film is in this theater overnight, them trying to get this succubus back into this old film reel.
Amazing.
Did I
That's a great
right?
pitch. That's a great pitch. How did you get involved in this project?
So I went to film school at Columbia University. That's where I did my MFA. I met a director that I've been working with for about 5 years. His name is collaborators. And the two writers that wrote it are also from Columbia. And my producing partner in this film, Chris Cole, is also an alum at Columbia. So it's kind of, we all went to school together. We made short films together, and we made this feature film together. And it's been lovely coming to the festival with a group of friends and filmmakers that I love and enjoyed working with.
It's really nice that you still have those relationships, because when people say, is it worth it to go to film school? I have varying answers, but at the end of the day, there is always that, right? Mm-hmm. The idea that you're going to meet hopefully at least one or two. Usually it's not that many, so it's nice that you kind of all came and did this together.
It's interesting because right now at the moment, the last 5-6 years, I've been working with 3 different writer-directors, and I met all 3 of them at Columbia.
It's nice, and to just maintain those relationships, yeah. I'll go this way first. So in looking at your IMDb page, I counted 11 shorts as a producer. Is that right?
I'm not sure, but I'm
That's
sure
right.
you're right.
I counted this morning. So, and I don't know how many are from school or not school, but I don't know that matters necessarily. But I want to talk about the value of short films. What do you feel like you got out of them? And then, how did you take that kind of short filmography and then bring that to a feature? What was that stage for you?
I went to film school wanting to find collaborators that I want to work with, and once I found them, we practiced filmmaking together. And another thing I also knew was I like telling stories kind of from everywhere and anywhere. I don't know if you've noticed, but I've shot short films in the UK, Turkey, Germany, Korea, kind of all over, and I think it's because I'm drawn to stories that are from all over the world, and so that I knew. So short film was a really good way to practice filmmaking anywhere and everywhere, and I think it really trained us together. And I think even making this feature film, the DP and the director and I have worked together before on a short film in Korea. So when it comes to low budget, I think it's great that you have these experiences together, because the way we schedule, a shoot, or even during development, we all speak the same language. So I'm not sure if it's 11, it might be 12, but I think it was a good training ground for us to make low budget first features.
Yeah, I like that you call them practice films, because I think directors talk about it that way, but not enough producers talk about it that way. And producers, even if you've never done it before, you're kind of, when you go to make a film, people look at you like you should just already know. And you don't know in the same way a director doesn't know until they start moving the camera and working with actors. Tell me about the difference in experiences in shooting in different countries. And it's one thing to enjoy them, but then what were the challenges?
I think every country's a little different. So for example, when we went to Korea to make the short film, I'm Korean, but I have never made a film there. And I realized it's different. People do check emails, but they'll check it if you call and follow up. And people like face-to-face meetings during, prep. I had maybe 10, 12 cups of coffee a day, because it's all about meeting and you gotta shake your hand and do all of that. But other than that, I feel like as long as you get everyone on board because of the script and everyone understands that, I think it's kind of the same thing all over the world. And some countries have different ways of working with the GNE team and the cinematographer, it's a little bit different, but I think it works. And going back to having made short films with these different directors, I think we kind of speak the same language. I know what that director's prep is like and how that director doesn't prep it like this person. And I think if you know how your team works, it really doesn't matter. It's the same.
When you're making your first feature, the kind of $1 million question is, how do you find the money, right? And I think there's never an answer, but for you going into, after all these shorts, going into your first feature, what was the process of raising money? Yeah.
So I think we were very, very lucky. So my producing partner, Chris Cole, he also went to Columbia University. When we were in school, we had never worked together. We knew each other very well, but he, and I never worked together. He's the one that actually came with the financing and said, I want to make a horror movie. I want Lawrence and Matt, our writers, to write it. And he came to Keola Rosella, the director I work with, let's make this film together. And we made very serious shorts, so I don't think anyone was expecting porno from us. But it was a good team, and we were very excited by what Keola would do with this script. So, long answer short, I cannot really take credit for the financing part of this film.
No, and that's okay. I mean, I think in talking to the producers, what a lot of people talk about is that there are many types of producers, and actually there's a lot of directors who think if a producer doesn't bring the money, they're not valuable, right? And so to also be working with collaborators who see you other than just that, especially early in your career, is rare and really wonderful. So, and not every role, you're not playing every part, every role in every single movie.
Yes.
Yeah. It's hard. We're in a tough marketplace where a lot of these indies don't sell for very much.
No.
And you can choose to put a lot of time into handling a release on your own or supplementing a release, or you can choose to kind of move on to the next thing. And I think there's definitely a balance there of, it takes a long time to get these movies made. And so you do need to jump in to the next thing, I think.
A long time, and because it was a lower budget, we worked without a post-production supervisor. It was the director who also was the editor and I on this. Since we wrapped right before Thanksgiving 2017, I want to say. Yeah. So he's been at it, editing, doing a lot of the special effects and all of it by himself. But at the same time, it's like we're very, very excited to move on to the next film. And the audience response here has been really, really good. And because of the genre of the film being horror comedy, we've been getting a lot of interest, not just in the States, but all over the world. So knock on wood, give me with someone. But, we're like, okay, we've given everything we have to make this film. Let's premiere it. We enjoyed ourselves this week, and we're all going to go back and work on what's next.
Good, yeah. In that sense, what kind of movies do you want to be telling?
Interestingly, at my film school interview, I said everything but horror is what I said, and my first feature ended up being a horror. But if you look at the 11, 12 shorts I've made, it's kind of everywhere and everything. I think just anything character-driven. If I'm interested in the character, that's what kind of gets me. I'm open to anything that is just good story and good characters. And I think at the end of the day, even if it was a horror comedy, the reason I was like, oh, I think we're gonna make something very special is there were so many layers of the 5 teenagers in the film, layers to their characters that I felt that anyone could relate to and everyone could relate to. And I think that, that's the thing. I just want to tell good stories that mean something to me, and hopefully it will mean something to someone else.
We talked a little about how you got into producing, but why are you a producer?
I was thinking about this question. So I kind of knew I wanted to be a producer before I knew what it meant when I was little. I knew I didn't want to be in front of the camera. I knew I wasn't a director, but if you look at my, like childhood journals when I was young, they're kind of all treatments and ideas. It's like someone should make a movie about this girl or this boy, or someone should make a play or write a novel. So like, it's kind of funny whenever I go home to my mom's house and like look at my diaries, it's all film treatments. I've always wanted to tell stories. So I was like, that's what I want to be. It took me a while to get there because I worked in finance before I went to film school. But yeah, I think producing kind of lets you do everything in a way. I could work with directors of all different styles that are interested in different genres, and I could choose the stories I tell and work with amazing talented people, and yeah.
So in that sense, what do you think, I mean, you'd made so many shorts before your feature, but is there something you wish you had known before going into the feature?
I think post-production was a little brutal. I'm so used to, I think production we were a little more confident with. I kind of called my mentor from Columbia University, a teacher of mine named Maureen Ryan, and I told her, I think you taught me well. I remember calling her after wrapping, because our team we prepped and we produced this film just as I did with all my 12 shorts. So all my shorts, I think we ran production and we did pre-production development, all of it just as I would have done my feature. And I was like, it worked. We came on schedule. We came under budget. I think I've left some more money for post, and it worked. So you must have taught me well, is what I told her. So I think it was a good learning experience, the 12 shorts I made, and I did it the same. The only thing was, I think post-production was longer than any of us had ever thought it would be. And I would probably not make another film without a post-production supervisor. I think it was really brutal on my editor, director.
Yeah, it's the role that I've never had a post supervisor. I've made 6 or 7 movies. And I always say I'm never, but I'm really like, it's really never happening again, because it's also, it's so technical, and I don't care to learn the technical aspect of it. I like the storytelling aspect of it, and that's where I want to contribute, and it's a huge piece of it. You are just getting started because you're going to have to deliver your movie. So you're not done. Post continues for at least another 6 months.
I'm going to be calling you.
Yes, yes. I mean, that's one of the questions I get most, actually, is can you help me with delivering my film to a distributor? And we, on Dear Producer, are going to be publishing some things about that in the next couple months that hopefully will help you. So some of it's like that educating process too. But yeah, I get it. And I think you've nailed it. It is the post supervisor. Let's see. What inspires you as a producer?
I think stories, character. Whenever one of my writer directors come and tell me about like a new inspiration, I think it's that character, something about that character that stays with me for a long time. And weirdly, I'm not a writer, but I go back and I keep thinking and living in that person's world. And the next time we talk about it, or the next time, even before the script comes, before they go away, write it, I think that's what it is. I'm just like, oh, maybe he or she's like this. And they're like, whoa, 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 I'm writing it. And I'm like, okay, I need to stop doing this, for them to write. But I think that's what excites me the most.